Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good,
Huh?
good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon,
Dr.
sorry.
Francis.
Good afternoon,
Good
Dr.
afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you?
Very
Fine,
well,
thank
sir.
you.
Maria, how are you doing? Good afternoon.
I'm good, Moses. How are you?
Very well.
Mm. All right, can we start?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good. All right. Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. So where did we stop last? I think we entered NumPy now, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we started with NumPy. Okay. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so we'll start with NumPy. Okay. So basically, we have covered some basics in Python, right? At least just to get you going. So you always still have to go back to your basics in Python and still build on it. Okay. But so far, at least what we need to keep going, at least we have learned some of them. Okay. So another critical thing that we're going to learn as data analysts, because remember, as a data analyst, what you need to do is to extract your data, analyze the data, visualize the data, isn't it? But see, when you extract the data, so most time when we're using Excel, we have them in tables. Okay. But in programming, you will not see tables, right? You will not see tables. Okay. So that's why you now have this library here, which is numerical what Python. Okay. And this is what you are going to be using. Okay. So it's a building block of of many of the libraries that you see. Okay. But the two popular ones that you see is so we have the NumPy, you have the pandas, you have the scikit-learn. Okay. So those are the basic libraries we are going to be using. So this is the foundation. So we'll start with what the NumPy. So because this NumPy, so if you remember your functions, right? Your functions are the ones you already create yourself. You say define whatever function. Now this one, they have already written the program already. They have done the library for you, the module for you. Okay. So what you are going to do is now to what import it. Yeah, to what import this library. Import. So that will start with what import pandas as import NumPy as np. Now I don't know, in rare cases where your NumPy is not there, maybe it tells you no module found. Okay, so in that case you have to install it. Okay, so we use what they call pip install, let's say NumPy. Pip install NumPy. Okay, so anytime you want to install any library, you use the word, you use pip. Can you see? But it already tells you the requirement already satisfied. Okay, but in case you don't have it when you import it, then you have to install it. Okay, so this is import NumPy as np if it's already installed. Okay, but if it's not installed, well, by default, if you have an account already brings in most of this thing there, most of the libraries I are going to need. Okay, so that's just basic thing you need to know about the bringing the libraries in. So you import them, but if they are not there by default, then you have to install it. So anytime you want to install any library, use the word pip install. Pip install. Okay. Pip install whatever. So maybe it's pandas, pip install pandas or whatever you have. Okay. So that's just the basic thing we need to know about that. Another thing again we also need to understand is that anytime so we started with our list, right? So for example, I have A is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, isn't it? What would be another way of doing this? Yes. What would be another way of bringing out your list?
Range.
Range, okay. So for example, I can say B is equals to what? B is equals to what?
Range 1 to 10. 11.
1 to, okay, let's say 11. Okay, but we want to put it in a list. So what do we now
List
do?
in brackets.
The lists, right? List like this, like this.
Yes.
Okay, say so B. So we have 1 to 10, right? Good. But you see, when you're working with your data, right? When you're working with your data, normally, like in Excel, your range of data, you call it what? In your Excel, a range of your data is called what? In your Excel, a range of data is called what? Yeah? What do we call it in Excel? A range of data or a range of cells. Yes? Yeah? A range of cells in your Excel. What do we call it? So you want to collect, pick a range of data. What do we call it in Excel?
Is it array?
So is it by defining name?
No, yes, that's an array now.
Array,
Array.
yes.
An array, isn't it? Good. So in the same way, you also have it here, right? So anytime you talk about a collection of your data or cells, it's called what? An array. Okay. So most time what we want to do is to convert this our list into an array. Okay. But by default, your Python will not be able to, unless you can program it that way yourself, okay? But to save yourself stress, the libraries already have most of these functions already. So that's why, for example, I can call np.array a. Can you see that? So if I have a, you see a is different. So if let's say, for example, I have a, let's say a1 is equal to whatever, right? So what's the type of a1? Can you see that? But what's the type for a? Can you see the difference? Can you see what we have done? So one is a list, isn't it? The other one is an array, okay? N-dimensional array, okay? So it can be 1 dimension, 2 dimension. But you see, when we get to the 2 dimension, right? So that's when we can talk about what? A matrix. A matrix. We can start talking about what? A matrix. Because as analysts, we work in tables. But in your programming here, you may not have tables, right? So rather, you're working with what? Matrix. Okay, 2 by 3, 4 by 4, identity matrix, and the rest. Okay, so that's why most time we'll be working with what? Matrix. And if I was to create a simple matrix, let's say a matrix, let's say we have 10, you have 20, you have 30, right? Maybe I have another list again. Let's say I have on that list again. Let's say here I have 40, I have 50, I have 60, and I have another list. Let's say 100, 120, 150. Okay. So when I have a list inside a list, what is it called? A list inside a list. What is it called?
A dictionary.
It's called what?
Dictionary.
A list inside a list. It's called what?
Nested.
Exactly. Nested lists. Nested lists. Yes, nested list. It's called a nested list. Just like in your Excel now, how you have your nested. So that's how you have what? Nested what list. Okay. So if I check the type of this matrix, it's going to be telling me that it's what? A list. Okay. But you see, I have to convert it into a matrix. So to convert to a matrix, I just say mp.array, then let's say matrix, right? So can you now see now looks like a proper what matrix? What's the dimension of this matrix? What's the dimension of this matrix? Yeah,
3 by
what's
3.
the
3.
It's a what? 3 by 3.
by
Exactly. It's a 3 by 3 matrix, okay? And that's the same way we're going to see some other ways of now changing shapes of what the matrix and the rest. But here we just have typed them. So we can also bring in the data randomly, right? Or bring in different numbers. Okay. So if we look at our, so let's speak. So we look at the range, isn't it? So for your basic Python, one of the basic functions you have is your range. Let's say 1 to 100, or let's say 1 to 20. Okay. Now it's not showing you anything. So to see what is inside it, what do? You put what? A list, isn't it? Then you have it this way. But take note, if for example you have a for example, you created a variable and you call that variable list. If you try to run this list function now, it will not work. Okay, so that way I say whenever you are creating a variable, ensure that it is not a reserved Python word. Okay, so that's for that. So just like we have here for our in Python, where we have range, in NumPy, right? In NumPy, we have what they call a range. So if I say mp.arange, some people will be typing arrange. It is not arrange. It is what? A range. Can you see that? Doesn't understand what you are saying. It's a range. Can you see that? And this one already puts it in an array. Okay? It puts it in an array. But you see, when you are creating this range of numbers, right? By default, it's going to be increased by 1 by, can you see that? So if I say 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 1, 4. So just like that. But if I have decided to put it in the form of a range 1 to 11, comma 2. Can you see that? So assume that 1 plus 2, 3, isn't it? 3 plus 2, 5. So just like that. Okay. So we can increase it by certain what steps or certain what numbers. Okay. So that's how we can put the numbers, right? Another thing again is that when we are looking at our matrix, right? Our matrix, because the end goal why we are learning all these things is that at the end of the day we are going to do some predictions, right? We are going to do some what predictions. Okay. And you see, in predicting, so for example, if I have y as a function of x, right? It means that for me to predict this y, right, I'll know these values, okay? So whatever analysis I've done here, I will use this to what? Predict this, okay? But you see, the way the result is going to come out, it will not come out in form of a table. It will come out in form of what? A matrix, okay? So for example, it's just like, let me say, Okay, well, let's say you are predicting what you want to predict. What kind of example can we do for predictions? What kind of predictions? Yeah,
Stock exchange.
stock exchange. Okay. Now you see that kind of prediction. Okay, that one is numbers, right? That one is numbers.
Yes.
Okay. That stock exchange will be a little bit. It will still come out this form, but that one will be a little bit clearer later. Let's say, for example, okay, let's say I always use the one of fraud or no fraud, right? So it means that if you are interested in fraud, it will assign 1, otherwise what 0. Can you see that? So when you see your result, you see something like this: 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 0 0 1 0 0. Can you see that? Now all these things that you see in your list, it will be arranged in this form. It will be arranged something like this. So it means anywhere I see 1 indicates what? 1 means what? Fraud, isn't it? Or you can say present or absent. Present or absent, right? Good. So that's why anything you are going to predict is not going to be put in form of a table, but rather in form of what? A matrix. Okay? The result will come out this way. So it will be looking very funny. At times it can be looking very scary. It's like, what is all this? Okay? But just understand that it's just your normal, the way you have it in your table, that's how it's going to be. But only that when you have your table, you know, for example, your table, you will have your columns, you have your rows, isn't it? So if this is my actual, right? This is the actual, and this is the prediction, right? So maybe I have, let's say, I have different respondents. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, observation 4, 5. Okay. Maybe the actual, right? Maybe this one was, let's say, present. This one was absent. This one was present. This one was absent. This one was present. So when he's predicting it for you, right? Normally, this is what you want to see. You want to see maybe this is the actual. So either is 1, right? 0, is it not? 1, 0, 1. This is how you normally would have seen it, isn't it? Which means that this is predicting it correctly. But the way the result is going to come out will not be in this table form, but in this result form. So rather, what you are going to see is what? 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Can you see that? So when you have just in a single distance, this is what they call a vector. Like a vector, right? But when it's like, when you have the rows and columns now, it will be called what? A matrix. So if it's going to bring it in such a way that you have 2 rows or 2 columns, that means you may have to reshape to meet the particular way you want the result to look like. Okay, so sometimes the result will just come out in this form, and it come out in an array, not in a table. So it's later when we learn pandas, we'll now learn how to convert it into a table. Okay, so that's why when we talk about your prediction, so it's either 1 or 0. So again, you can also look at your matrix, whether they are zeros or 1. So you have np.zeros, let's say 3. So it will bring out 0, 0, 0. np dot let's say 30. So this is like a table, right? So it means that what you are seeing here is a list like this on this table, up to 30. Okay, if you see up to maybe, let's say, will you show me up to 100? If it shows you up to 100, it means that this your table here down is from 1 to 100. What you are seeing here is the same thing as what you are going to be seeing here as 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 to 100. Do we get that? So this is what we understand in table form, right? But the way the result works, it doesn't come in this table, it comes in this form. So even when you do your stock price prediction, the numbers will be coming in this form like this. The numbers will come in this form. So you later will now learn how to now convert it into a property. Okay. So the same way we have a matrix of zeros, right? We can have a matrix of ones. We can have an identity matrix. Okay. So let me create more. So in the same way, we can have MP dot ones. Dot one. So let's say I have 10. Or let's say I have up to 100. Can you see that? So what this one means is that on that your column, you have 1 all through up to what 100. Do you get that? Do we get that? So this will just be on a single column. Okay, but in this form, it's now looking like what? A matrix form. But if you were to make it like a matrix, then what you can do, you can say maybe MP dot zeros, then you can put maybe 5 by 5 or let's say, sorry. Okay, whenever you do it, you have to put it in double. Yes, okay. The same thing, MP dot one. Let's say 5. Let's say 5 by 5. Okay, or we can say 5 by 50. Can you see that? So the way you read it as a table may vary, right? So for example, here you can talk, these are the rows and these are what? Your columns. Your rows and your what? Columns. But if it's just a single vector that you have there, that means it's just maybe like one column. Just like what? One word column. Okay, so that's about your ones and this thing. Then we talk about if you want to have like an identity matrix. So your identity matrix simply means that you have what? 0, so let's say you have 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. So you notice that you have eyes across the ones across the diagonals. Okay, so this is referred to as what? An identity what? Matrix. An identity what? Matrix. Okay. So for identity matrix here, you also have MP dot, what do we call it now? Is it eyes? Right? MP dot what? Eyes. And again, if I put, so it depends again on how you want to put in what structure you want. Okay. MP dot eyes. Let's see. What is it saying? You say MP has no attribute. Is it I or eyes? I. Okay, it's I. So if I have 10, can you see that? So you have 1 across the diagonal. Okay, so we can create, and this is exactly how the results will be coming. Okay, you'll be seeing 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. Okay, 1, 0. All right, so again, so these numbers that we have 1 and 0, we can put random numbers so that I let it look as if there are numbers that we have there. So in Python, we have the library called random, right? Random, okay? So just like in your Excel, where you have rand rand between. Yes, you have rand int, you have rand between, right? Or you have rand and rand between, okay? So here, if you want maybe in decimal, right? So if I say random dot random, random dot random, so you just create any random number for you. Yeah? If it was Excel, this is your rand. This is your rand. In Excel, this is your rand. Okay, but if you now need numbers, right? Then you now have to use what they call rand int. So random dot rand int. Let me see, random dot rand. Okay, yes, you must put, so because you are doing like a round between, okay, so you must have a minimum and maximum of numbers, okay. So just like your function, right? These are the arguments that you must put inside it. So let's say I say between 10 and hundreds. So give me any number between 10 and 100. Run it again. Run it again. If it was Excel, you'll be pressing F9, right? So that's the same thing. Okay. But again, in your, so you can use that to just create a sample data. Okay. You can use that to create sample data. And you know, again, if you were to pick a value, right? Any value that you want. Just like, for example, you know how we create maybe range, let's say range 1 to 10. So what does this mean? Does this mean anything? So put it in the list and let's see. Right? So that means we are increasing by what? 2, isn't it? Or by 3, or by 4, or by whatever number that you want. Okay. So you know how we have our, what they call it, our let's create a list. Let's create an empty list. Let's say number, right? So I want to assign certain numbers into this. I want to assign certain numbers. Okay. So if we pick, let's say from this range, okay, let's say we want to pick numbers from range 1 to 10. Let's say 1 to 10. We want to assign numbers 1 to 10. Okay. But we want to pick it randomly. We want to pick it randomly. So let's say, for example, if I say, okay, let's run it. If I say for I in range, let's say 1 to 10, right? Then what do I want? Let's say n will be equals to random dot rands int. Let's say between 1 and 10. Pick any number for me between what? 1 and 10. Then let us assign it to where? Let's assign it to where now? So number dot append what now? N, right? So if I call number, what do I have? Can you see that? Do you understand what has happened there?
No.
Okay. Do you understand this? What does this range do? What does this range? What does it do?
It helps you create a sample data.
Sample data is not 10, isn't it? So let's say, for example, I pick 1 to, let's say 21, right? I pick 1 to 21. Then from this 1 to, so this 1 to 21 means what? What does this mean?
That the numbers will be between
So you have 1 to 20. That you have 1 to 20, isn't it? From that 1 to 20, go through it and pick randomly between, let's say 1 and 10. Can you see what it has done? For each of them, now to now go for that 1 to 20 that you have, that your 1 to 20, pick randomly between 1 and 10. Can you see that? So that what is going one by one. So go through this, check between 1 and 10. If I put this one between 1 to 5, right? So which means that each number there, let's see. Okay, it's adding it. It's adding it to it. Can you see that it's adding all of them? So they will not go beyond 5. Okay, they'll be adding them. They'll be adding them to it. So the point here is that for your round between, you can just generate random numbers. Okay, so that way you have your round and round int. That round int is what used to generate what the numbers, which means you can also create sample data, right? You can also create what sample what data. So that's what we are just trying to use here. So if I say, for example, mp.random.rand int, let's say between 1 to what now 101, right? But if I say give me 20 numbers, can you see that between 1 to 100? Can you see that? So give me 20 numbers between what 1 to what 100, which means if I want to pick okay, let's use a simpler one. So let's say mp.random.rand int, let's say 1 to 10. 1 to 10 means what? 1 to 10 means what? Yes.
1 to 9.
Yes, so normally it will be what 1 to 9. So if I was to put it in that form, it would be like what 1 to 9, isn't it? But if I want to now say, okay, give me how many numbers? Let's say if I say give me 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can you see that? If I say, okay, give me 20. Do you see that? So it will now give you the number that any random number between 1 to 10, but it will give you what 20 numbers. So give me 20 numbers between what 1 and what 10. Okay. But you will now see that when you are, if I still run it again, you will notice that you will not have, did you see any 10? Did you see any 10?
No.
So that means that 1 to 10 means it's giving you 1 to 9, isn't it? But give me 20 numbers there. So the same way, I can create a simple matrix. Let's say, for example, if I have let's say, for example, okay, let's put this one inside a, let's say, matrix, right? We want to check the matrix. If I say type matrix, right? So this telling you is what is an array, isn't it? Is an array. But you know, since it's a matrix, you know, a matrix can have, let's say, it can have different dimensions. You know, it can be 1 by 1, 2 by 2. That's what they call the shape of the matrix. So if I say matrix.shape, right? Matrix.shape. What is this one telling me? What is this telling you?
Is 20 columns on one row.
But how do you read a matrix? How do you read a matrix? How do you read a matrix? How do you read a matrix?
Bukola said it is by row and column.
So you read it row by what? Column, isn't it? So if I have n times m, isn't it? So this is row by what? Column, isn't it? So if I have 20 comma here, what does this one mean?
Oh, 20 rows.
20 rows, 1 column.
20 rows. Okay, so if I have comma 20 like this, what does this one mean?
20 columns, 1 row.
20 columns. Okay, don't worry. When we get there now, we'll start seeing what all these things mean. Okay, but how you read it is row by what? Column. Okay, row by what? Column. Okay, so let's look at this. So it means that if I have, so there are 20, so the sample size we have is about 20, right? So 20, how can we shape it? If we want to put this data now in form of a matrix, what shape will it take? What shape can it take?
To be on one line.
In form of a matrix. In form of a matrix. So in terms of so we have 4 by 5, 10 by 2. Okay, 4 by 5, 10 by 2, 5 by 4. Okay. All right. Okay. So 4 by 5. So if I was to shape it 4 by 5, so it means that to shape it 4 by 5 now, what will it look like? So you see what you have there, you can easily reshape. So you have this thing called reshape. So if I say matrix dot reshape, you say 4 by 5, right? 4, 5. So can you see that? So 4, 5 means 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? If I say reshape 2 by 3, what is this one telling you? What does this mean? Do you understand the error?
No.
Do you understand this error?
There are too many numbers.
You want to put it in what? In what shape do you want to put it?
2 by 3.
2 by 3, right? But if I put it 2 by 3, how many? What's the sample size? What's the data that we have?
Like 5 or 6.
6.
We have how many?
6.
6. Where did you see 6 from?
1, 2, 1, 2.
Look at the data here now.
But yeah, we have 20.
20, isn't it? So how will you fit this 20 in this shape? Do you see that? So that's why I'm saying you cannot reshape array of size 20 into shape 2 by 3. Do you get that now? So which means that if I was to shape it, maybe can I shape it to 2 by 10? Can I see that? Can I shape it to 10 by 2? What does that shape can we shape it to 1 by 20 or 20? Can you see that? Can you see a different way we need to reshape it? So when you have done your prediction, right? Sometimes the result may not match the way your data is in your original table. So you need to what? Go and reshape it so that they can match. Otherwise, you'll be having some errors. Okay. So that's why this reshaping is very important. So once you know your sample size, you need to understand how the data will come out. Okay. So I can shape it. What other shape can we do again? Math.reshape. What other shape can we do again? Size of 20. What other shape can we do? Okay, let's take another one again. Let's take another one and let us try it. Let's say so mp.random.randint. Yes. So which data do let's say okay. So give me number between 1 to 1000. Then give me how many should we take this time? What should be the size of the sample size we should take? Sample size should be what now? Okay, let's say 15. Let's say 15. So if I run, right? So what shape? So if I was to put in a matrix now, what shape can I put this in the matrix form? What shape can I put it?
3 by 5.
3 by 5, okay? But by default, what is the shape? By default, what is the shape? By default, what is the shape?
1 by, no.
The shape is what?
No, 1 by 15.
Eh?
1 by 15.
1 by what? If I say two dot shape, right?
1 by 15.
What is this?
15, is it 15 by 1?
But you see, in this case, so if I say, okay, let us try. So let us try and reshape it. So make two dots, reshape 15 by 1. Will this one go? 15 by 1. 15 by 1 means what?
15 rows,
15 rows.
1 column, 15 rows.
1 what?
1 column,
column,
15 rows.
Okay. If I do it this way, what does this one mean?
1 row, 15 columns.
1 what?
1 row, 15 columns.
1 row, 15 columns. 1 row, 15 columns. How do you read a matrix?
By rows and columns.
By rows, isn't it? First, the rows first. So whatever you are seeing here, this is the rows. So how many rows does it have?
Oh, 15 rows.
15 rows, isn't it? No column. Can you see that? 15 rows, no column there. But if you say, okay, I want to put 1 column there, that means to just stay in one place, right? So that means I will have, okay, let's put it 1. This will work, isn't it? What other shape can we put? What other shape can we put it? What other way can we shape it?
Can we shape it by 5?
5 by what?
3.
5 by what? 3. Good. 5 by 3. Good. Any other way to shape it again?
3 by 5.
3 by 5. Yes, you can shape it 3 by 5. Yes, 3 by 5. Okay. If we shape it 4 by 5, will it work?
No.
Why?
Because normal.
Will it work?
Yes, because 4 is not a factor of 15.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and that's just it, okay? So that reshaping. So from here, when you are reshaping it, so this is that's how you determine. So first of all, you need to determine the size, right? Once you are able to determine the size, then the next thing you need to determine is, so for example, if I say, what's the length of what? Matrix 2. It says what? 15. Can you see that? So now I know, oh, 15. So what shape can it now take? So you now try to what? Shape it based on what? This. So if I just want only the rows or only what the columns, then it now be matrix dot reshape. So if I want column 15, what does this one mean? Does you understand this? If we put it this way, you understand it. But why didn't it work?
Because there's no row.
Because there's no what row, isn't it? So you see, you reach the row first, right? But if I say 1 by 15, now this will work, right? 1 by 15, okay? Now this will work. If I say 15 by 1, 15, okay, if I put, yes, okay, let's say 15 by 1. This will work, right? But take note, this reshape is very important. So when we come to prediction, right? When we are predicting, we'll come back to this. Okay, but that's basically what you do there. There are still other things you can learn from it, like your, for example, if I ask what is the maximum number, so matrix. So let's say matrix. So these are the numbers, right? So what is the maximum number here? What's the maximum number?
Looks like 9.
It looks like what? It looks like 9, right? So if I say math.max, can you see that? So the same way, math.mean. If we're finding average, is it average? Can't remember. Is it average? Yes. Doesn't understand. Okay, doesn't understand average. If it's not average, let me see. Shift tab. No. For average will be. Is it? Can't remember for. Or is it mean? Let me see whether it has mean. Yeah, there's mean. So it's mean. It's not average. Mean. Okay. So you can find the maximum, the minimum, the average. We only have medians. No, it doesn't have medians. Okay. All right. So these are some of the arithmetic operations you can carry out on this. Okay. So I think we can end. I think these are the basic things you will need in NumPy. Although there are other things you can still learn from it, but these are the basic things we are going to require, right? Because if we start going into the details of it, if you are not going to apply it, it will not make any sense. Okay, so now I'm just showing you what we need. So the 0, the 1, the matrix, the shape, the reshape. Okay, so that's the basic thing we're going to need from it. So the next thing I want to try and introduce us to is pandas. I want us to go into pandas. Pandas. So let me see if I can. So let's go into pandas quickly. Pandas. So maybe I'll just make it. Pandas. So this pandas, right, is still built on this your NumPy. This pandas is built on NumPy. But remember that this your NumPy does not deal with tables, right? It doesn't deal with what tables. So what you are using is your matrix, right? But now we are now looking for a way to now have those your tables in your Excel in Python. So rather than you calling them tables, they'll call them data frame. DF, data frame. Data frame. Data what frame. Okay. So your pandas is a very important library as a data analyst. It's very important. So your NumPy and your pandas, very important libraries. Okay. Now we are going into pandas. Just think about your Excel. The way you see Excel, right? That is how pandas is. Pandas is like your Excel in Python. Okay. The way you think about your Excel in Python, that's what you do with your pandas. Okay. So it's like your Excel in Python. But remember, the challenge you have with your Excel is that most times when the data becomes very large, you notice that it has its limitation in terms of the size. You know, what is the maximum rows Excel can take? What is maximum rows Excel can take?
1 million and
I think 128.
128 what?
10.
Okay, let's try and see. Let's try and see if we can generate up to 2 million. Let me see. Let's see if we can generate up to 2 million. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Did it work? Did it work?
Yes.
Yes, it worked.
Isn't it? How many seconds did it take you?
Less
Less
than a
than
second.
Can you do this in Excel?
Not at all.
No.
So what did you do here? What did we do here now?
Two
Give
million.
us a range between 1 to 999 in 2 million counts.
Yeah, that's it now. Can you see that? So when the data becomes very, see this. So when you have data like this, up to maybe 2 million rows, there's no way Excel will handle that. But you see in Python, you see how easy it is to work. And that is how you have an organization where you have volume of transactions increasing on a daily basis, right? So by the time you aggregate it on the monthly basis, sometimes you can go into 3 million, 5 million, 10 million. So by then Excel will give up. Okay, so that's why most people, you see them now migrating into what? Python or R. Okay, especially when you want to analyze what data. So the first thing is the limitation of the size, isn't it? So that's why we talk about what big what data. We say anything that can enter Excel is still small data. Okay. If we increase it up to, let me add under 0 again. Let's see. With that one work. It still works. Okay. So you see how fast it will pick it. But because it cannot list all of them one by one, so that's why I just put these numbers for us. Okay. Okay. All right. Good. So another thing again is that, especially when we want to do some data transformation, Excel again will struggle. Excel will struggle. Okay, Excel will struggle. But you see, with Excel, that's why they have come with your Power Query. So all those your data transformation can easily be done on your Power Query. Okay, but and again, with that Power Query, again, it still helps with the size. So even when the size is very large, Power Query can also handle it. Even if it's more than 2 million, Power Query can handle it. But I don't know to what extent it can handle, right? But once it comes to large data, it can handle it, okay? So with data transformation too, you can also use your pandas for what? Complex data transformation, okay? Another thing again you see is, especially when you want to do automation, you want to automate certain tasks. But you see, when you are doing this in Excel, right? It's not that it cannot be done in Excel, but it will take you some time because your Excel skill must be very good for you to do that. Okay, your Excel skill must be very good for you to do that. Okay, so anytime you share pandas, think about it as Excel. Okay, so with pandas now, this is your journey as data analyst properly using Python now. Okay, all we have been doing is we are building the blocks, isn't it? So normally the first thing you need to do, first of all, you say import, so let's say numpy as np. Once you have imported, it has already imported, right? Next library we are going to import pandas as pd. What does pd mean? This PD, what does it mean?
Pandas.
Pandas is a short name for pandas. Okay. If you don't have it there, if you don't have that module installed, how do you install it? If you want to install pandas, how do you install it?
Use pip install.
Yes, pip
Pandas.
install pandas. If it's not installed in your own, you say pip install pandas. Okay, but you see, it's already telling you it already exists, right? But we'll get to a situation where we need to import some certain words like this. Okay, good. So when you are at this point now in pandas, just think about pandas like what? Excel, right? Remember, a collection of values is called what? A collection of values is called what? A
String.
collection of values is called what?
A list.
A list.
A list. Yeah, it can be a list, but generally it's called what? So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a collection of value generally is called what?
An array.
An array is called what? An array. It is when it's because I can also have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is this a list? Is this a list?
No.
What is this?
This is a tuple.
This is a tuple. Exactly. What about this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is
As a-
this?
A set.
This is a set, exactly. Can you see that? But generally, a collection of numbers is called what?
An array.
An array. Can you see that? It's called what? An array. When the array is when it's a one-dimensional array, it is called a series. When it's one-dimensional array, it's called what? A series. One-dimensional means what? One dimension means what?
One row or one column.
Either row or column, exactly. But if it is two-dimensional, it is called what? Two-dimensional is called what?
Matrix.
A matrix, okay? It can be what? A matrix, right? It can be what? A matrix, right? So in NumPy, we'll call it what? A matrix, isn't it? But in pandas, it is called a data frame. It's called what? A data frame. It's called a data frame. Okay, it's called a data frame. Do we get that? So the way you think about a matrix, right? So in pandas, they don't call it tables. They will call it data frame, but actually it's like a table. Just think about it like a normal table. Okay, just think about it like a normal table. Okay, and we know normally in your Excel, right? Excel has what? Rows and what? Columns, isn't it? That's your rows and columns. In pandas, they don't call it rows and columns. They call it what? Series. It's a series, right? So you say column or row. So then when it says series now, it's either row or what? Column. Okay. Another thing we should also take note of, right? That generally pandas uses what? Index. It starts with which index does it start with? Which index does it start with?
0.
It starts with index what? 0. So here if you count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see that? So that's the same way on your tables. That's how you read them. 0, 1, 2, 3. You can read it again. 0, 1, 2, 3. Panda starts with what? Index what? 0. Okay. I think those are the basic things that we just need to remember. Those are just the basic things we need to remember. Okay. So let's just give simple examples that we have been used to. But take notes, everything we are learning here in pandas is built on your NumPy. So that's why NumPy is the foundation of every other thing we are going to be doing. Okay. So let's say, for example, we have our, let's say we have our numbers. Let's say, okay, let's say my list. So let's give a list. Let's say, okay, let's say 10, 20, 30. Okay, let's just leave it this way. So we have my list, right? So let's say we have that, right? Let's say we have, let's say names. Let's say names. We have, let's say A, we have B, let's say we have C, right? We have names, we have my list, okay? You know, again, if I was to put it in an array, how do I put this in an array? If I was to put it in an array, how will I put this in an array?
In an MP dot array, then
MP dot what?
array,
Yes.
then my list, and
My
bracket,
list.
my list, yeah.
Isn't it? So this has turned into what? An array. So let me just say ARR. Can you see the same thing we are dealing with, but now this is normal list and this is what? An array. Okay. If I also put in a dictionary, how will I put in the dictionary? Let's say dictionary. Okay, this is dictionary. Okay, if I say dic1, let's see that. Okay. So let's say let's just say D, right? So let's remember. So if I was to put in a dictionary, how will I put in a dictionary?
I don't know if you said MP dot dict.
No, normally just forget about the general. How do you put a dictionary? What is the shape of a dictionary?
You open it up with it has a key and a value inside.
A key and a value. Okay. So which bracket do we use for a dictionary?
Curly bracket.
Yeah? Yes, curly word
Curly
bracket,
bracket.
right? So first of all, you have the key and the word value, isn't it? So for example, let's say this thing A, isn't it? That would be what the key. What would be the value?
It's
What
a
would be
fruit.
the value?
Fruit.
The value here, in this case, let's say A will be what? 10, B will be what? 20, C will be what? 30, isn't it? So here we have what? 10, right? Then we have what? B, 20, right? We have C, 30. So this D is now what? This is what? A dictionary. So everything that we have learned before now, we're just trying to just recap certain things. Okay. Now you see in pandas now, right? You may not see them like this, right? So rather, what is going to understand? What you are calling your rows, your column is what does it see it as? Your row and column, what does it see it as? Pandas, what does it see your row and column as?
Series.
Series, is it not? It sees them as what? A series. Okay. So that's why if I want to convert, so let's do it this way. Let's say pd.series, right? So let's say my data equals to, what will I use my data? Okay, let's say names. Let me say names. Names. Can you see what has done? What is this 0? What does this 0 mean? This 0, what does this 0 mean?
The index.
Index, is it not? So this is your ABC. How is he reading it?
0, 1, 2.
0, 1, 2, 3. So just remember your Excel. Your Excel already has one border, isn't it? Where it has 1 to 1,040,000, isn't it? So that's how it's reading this one. It's not reading from 1, but reading from what? 0. but this is actually what you have there. For example, if I want to read this one now, my list, if I say pd.series, right? I say my list. Even if I don't put data, let me see, I think that one should work, my list. It will still work the same way, but if I put data equals to, it will still work. Okay. All right. So can you see how it's reading them? So it's reading it as what? A series. Can you see that? But normally, if you put it in, if you're typing in Excel, you have to be reading as a normal column, isn't it? Like a normal word column. So the same way, if I don't want my, and remember, this is a default, isn't it? This is a default, right? So sometimes I can also take this my names. For example, I can put it here as my index. For example, look at this. So if I say pd.series, right? What is my data? Let's say my data is what? 1 to 10, right? 1 to whatever. Okay, 10 to 20. So my data is my list. My data. Okay, my list, right? But the index, the index should be what now? The index should be, let's say, names, right? The index should be names. Can you see what it has done?
Yes,
It has
sir.
converted this your 0, 1, 2, 3 to names. Can you see what it has done now? So if you leave it by default, it will give you from index 0, 1, 2, 3 to whatever. But you can actually also specify the names that you want. Okay, so that's why if you create certain lists and say, okay, give me in this list, right? Give me numbers. Or let's say, for example, let's take for example now, let's create another list. Let's say you have, let's say, what should we create now? What can we create? Okay, let's say, for example, you have, let's say countries, right? Let's say countries. You know, I can create countries. Let's say Nigeria. Let's say you have Ghana. Let's say you have South Africa. Let's say you have, let's say Kenya. Let's say you have, which other country again can we add? Let's say you have, which other country can we add now? Egypt. Okay, let's say Egypt. So these are your countries, right? Let's say you have, let's say GDP. Let's say GDP. Maybe you have, okay, let's just put numbers. Let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Good. So you see, if I want to create it in a series now, what will I do? PD dot series, isn't it? What's the data? Maybe I don't put data there, but if I say data, what's the data?
GDP.
Country.
Okay, cool. Countries.
Countries.
The data.
Data is the GDP.
GDP, isn't it? Then the index should be what?
Country.
Countries.
Countries, right? Can you see it now?
Mm.
Does it look like your Excel table now?
Yes.
Gradually we are getting there, but remember, it's just reading it. This is how it's reading it for you. So you are, if you are coming from an Excel point, so to you this one makes sense, isn't it? But you notice in NumPy we cannot write it in this format, isn't it? If we were to write it in this format, we'll have to put it in what? A matrix form, right? It has to be in what? A matrix. But with pandas now, you can now read it this way. Even what we have done here, you can even say, I can even write, let's say country, let's say country equal to, and instead of me creating two different, let's say countries and GDP, right? I can still do this PD.series. You know, first of all, the first thing that will come is what? This GDP. This GDP will come first, right? So let's say I put the GDP there. So let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? Then what will follow next will be what? The index, right? What's the index? The index is these countries here, right? So let me copy that out and put it there. Okay, let me just copy everything there. And I put it here. Okay, so this is the series, isn't it? The data and this thing here. So I run that. So if I run country, what will I see?
The same table.
Yes, I'll see the same, exactly what I'm saying here. So what you are going to learn now, you see, if I type pd.series, right? I don't know what to do there. Press Shift Tab. You see, Shift Tab will tell you, can you see what you are seeing there? Data, index, can you see that now? That's how I know what is there. If you want to put it there, so for example, what I've typed here now, instead of me typing data, I can leave it there. I only call this one. Can you see that I can only, maybe let's say I call this one, maybe 1 to 10. Comma. Instead of me calling index, let's say I call this one. So let's see. Can you see what's happening here? So this is what I have here, right? But in this case, I call this one GDP or data, or whatever you have there. This one too, I can also call data. I can call this data equal to. Can you see that? Now in this case, I not call data, I not call index. So let me run it. This is exactly the same thing. So it can allow you run it the way you want. But this one, because so that why, which one is easier to understand what has happened?
The first one.
1, 2, 3. Which one is better? Yes, which one is better?
First one.
The first one. Okay, the first one. All right.
I think for beginner level, the first one is better because it
The first
breaks
one
it
is
down.
better.
Yeah. But we understand the third one now because we follow the step.
Yeah. So now I'm showing there are different ways of, so when you see them, so sometimes you see some will put data, some will put index, some will not put anything. But how you just know what is there? So when you type series, right? I press Shift Tab, it will tell you what's supposed to be there. Because sometimes I will not even remember what it is. So when I press Shift Tab, I will now see the arguments that's supposed to be there. Okay. So let's say,
Sir.
so let's, yes.
Sir, I noticed that the series, if you don't type the S in big in capital letter, it will not work.
Yeah, it will not work. It must be, remember, it's extremely case sensitive. Extremely case sensitive. So let's say country. So I have country this way, right? So another thing again you want to do, you know, how do you slice? How do you slice? You know how to slice in your, how do you slice normally? If you want to slice a list, how do I slice a list? Let's say I have countries. Countries is a list now, you know. So if I want to pick Ghana, how will I pick Ghana now?
You pick it with the index.
I'll pick it with the index. You know, so what's the index?
1.
Zero.
One.
Countries bracket 1.
If I want to extract Ghana now, how will I pick Ghana?
Country index.
Index 1.
Also country index 1.
Index 1.
Okay.
So the same way, whenever I want to slice, I slice by the index. So if I look at this country now, what is the index?
2.
What is the index?
10, 20, 30, 40, 50.
Is that the index?
Index is the countries.
The index is the country, is it not?
Countries. The
Is it
data
not?
is the
So which means if I want to pick 30, how will I pick 30 now?
Country index South Africa.
Country what?
Square bracket South Africa.
South Africa. Can you see that?
Okay.
You slice by the index. Do you see that? Now, if I, for example, if I say country, what's South Africa number for the index number? What's the index number?
So, 2.
Eh?
2.
2.
Can you see that? You can still slice by the default index. If you still understand me. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Are you clear with this? Okay, good. So let's go to the proper this thing that we're working with now. So let's go to the data frame. Let's go to data frame. So I created, we created the, remember I can just create another one. Just is it getting more confusing?
No, sir.
Okay. But actually, with these pandas, this is now where your proper data analysis skills begins. But once you understand pandas, once you can start analyzing data with pandas, then you see you can go and write your resume that you know how to use Python as data analyst too. Because that you have learned how to use Python to build data science does not mean that you know how to use Python. That you know how to use Python to build a website doesn't mean that you know how to use Python to build data science, machine learning. So that's why you see with Python, you choose your path. The path we are picking is for what? Data analysis and data and machine learning. Okay. So there's a whole lot that you use with Python. All right, let's create a, let's see what we can create. What kind of table can we create now? Just thinking, what kind of table can we create now that will make sense for us? Okay, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Let's create a simple array. Let's say empty. Let's say if I create a simple array, let's say 1, let's say 1, 3, let's say 1, 4, let's say 2, 5, let's say 3, 6. Okay, so this is an array, so I have to put one here and close it. Yeah. All right. So let's say I have this, and let's say again. So this is your NumPy array, isn't it? So let's say I have this. Maybe I put it in the form of a list. Let me just take the same one. Let me put it in the form of a list. Let me say data equals to, if I run that data, guys, you see the same form, right? If I was to create it for a dictionary now, how can I create a dictionary? Let's say, which dictionary can we create now? Assuming these are ages, these are different people's ages. So what you have as 1, so it will be age 4. Let's say student 1, student 2, student 3. Okay. Let's create a dictionary that will have that. Maybe student 1, student 2, student 3. How we create that one? Oh, another thing again. Okay, let us use this one. Okay, let me use this one that we have been using before. This Nigeria. I think that will make more sense to us. Let's say that will make more sense. Let's continue using this one that we have here. So we already have country, right? We have GDP, we have country. So let me call it out. So we have countries. We have GDP here. Now, what we have been saying before, what we are talking about is series, isn't it? What we are talking about is what series. Now, if I want to make it a data frame. So let's say DF. DF stands for what?
Data frame.
Data frame.
Data frame. So I'll say PD dot what? Data what? Frame. Now, if I don't know what to do there, I'll press Shift Tab. Where's my Shift Tab? It's not coming out. Okay, anyway. Have I imported the pandas? Did I import pandas?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Okay, so we have used that. Okay, let's say pd.data what? Frame, isn't it? So the first thing you need to put is the data. Right? So let's say the data here was what? GDP, right? Then the index is what? Countries. Data frame, not data frame. Data frame. Okay, this data frame, please take note. You see this data frame, it's not, this F is capital letter F. Okay, yes. Can you see it? Data frame, please take note.
Oh, wow.
Was written in this form. Now I started from the beginning. Python is extremely case sensitive. So those little things can be very annoying. So if I say DF, can you see it now? Can you see what it has done now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So just the same way we had created, let's say, for example, I have, let's say, df1, let's say pd.data frame. Let's say data, let's say our data is GDP. Let's say the index is, let's create a list now. Let's say the index, let's say we have 2019. Let's say we have 2020. Let's say we have 2021. Let's say we have 2022. Let's say we have columns. Let's say columns. There are countries.
And your opinion.
Is that what? Please read this one. What does this mean? What does this mean?
Shape of the past values.
Yeah, what does that mean? Shape of the past values.
Okay, the shape is 5:1, but then the indices is 4:5.
It's
Doesn't-
4. It does not match, right? So let me say if I add another year, let's say 2018. Which one does not match now? So one is red. Shape of past value is 5:1. Where is the past? What is the past value? Data. Sorry, GDP. 5:1. Okay. And what we are passing is what? 5/5. Okay, let me just take that fresh so that.
Look at that DF1 you put there. DF1.
df1. I just created a new variable. df1. I just created a new variable. Okay. Okay, so let's say our okay, let's create another one. So I say pd dot data frame, right? That way you see that's your shape, you must always take note of the shape of your data, because if it does not match, these are the kind of errors you are going to be getting. So you have to just understand how it works. Okay. So let's say, for example, so I was trying to create, so let's say data frame now. So let's say we have the data, right? Which data are we going to use now? Okay, let's say data is GDP, right? GDP. Okay. Index. So index. Okay. How many this do we have for GDP? GDP. This is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It is 5 now. So should hopefully it should work. Let's see. So 5 years will be what now? Let's choose 5 years. Let's say the 5 years. So let's see. So that was 2018, right? 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Okay, so this is the index, right? Data. Yes. And I have the index, right? So assuming I want to have 2 columns. Okay, let me run this and check. Okay, this one run. So df1. Can you see what it is doing here? df1. So let me see that columns. What can we call that columns? So let me see columns. Let me call it GDP. Hey, columns. Let's put columns in another list again. Let's say amounts. Will that work? df1. Can you see what has happened? So the problem is that if you decide to put another column here, let's say I call this one figure. Let's say figures. So do you understand what the error is now? This shape here that you're putting for the column, we have just 1 column, but you're now putting what? 2 columns. Do you understand it now?
So
We get
no.
Look at what we have done here, right? You know, normally, if you run it, can you see you just have only 1 column?
Yeah.
But if I have columns, I put amount and figure. It means I have 2 columns there.
Okay.
But what was the sample size? It was how many countries? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it was 5 by what? 1, isn't it? But what we have done here is 5 by what? 2. So that's why it's telling you here. Shape of past value is 5 by 1. Indices imply 5 by 2. 5 by 2, which means that what you are doing here is for 5 by what? 2. So that means here supposed to be this. Okay. So this is how we have it. So this is how the data should look like. So this is what you call your what? Data frame. Can you see now it's not looking like Excel? Gradually. But what we are going to do now, we're going to start data so that we'll see how it works. All right. Are we good with that? Are you clear with this now?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Yeah. All right. So the same way, if I have put this index, so if I didn't want to use this one, let's say I use countries instead. Let's say countries. Then I now run this. Can you see now? Still the same thing. So in this case, this index now is Nigeria, while this one is whatever. So let's say, for example, I now have called this one GDP. GDP. So if I run that. And you know that instead of me always calling it this way, after you finish writing, you can just type there on that same line, say print DF1, so that will show you immediately. Right, so to show you how it will look like. But I just run that DF1, but this is how it's going to look like. Okay, so it all depends on how you want to set it up. But is this clear for now? Is this clear how to set up your data frame? So I've shown you different ways of doing it. Either you create it manually or you create it using a variable. Let me call this one DF2. So DF2. So that's DF2. Let's call this DF1. So I run DF1. All right, so we have DF1 as here, the other one as variable. So you can have it that way. Okay.
You can also
So
put the data as numbers now. So
you
GDP.
said? You
You
said what?
can also list out the numbers in GDP in data for DF2.
Yes, yes. You can list the numbers there. And that's the thing I want to show you. You see, sometimes the way your data is structured. Let's say, for example, you have your, so these are countries, right? This is countries. This is your countries, right? And this is your GDP. Isn't it? This is your GDP. You know, normally how you use your, what they call it, dictionary. You know, for example, you can use dictionary, right? You know, you can use a dictionary. You know, you can put this in a dictionary. Can we put this in a dictionary?
Yes.
How do we put it in a dictionary?
Whatever variable we want to call the dictionary, but to be equal to a curly bracket, curly
So
bracket,
let's say count, equals to her. Yes.
then countries column GDP.
Country. Yes, column what? Column.
But sir, yeah, you want to do everything at once, as in I felt that we should take it
Yes,
like
at once,
individually.
yes.
Then the data should be GDP, so column GDP. Not try this one before.
So country now will be your countries, right?
Yes, the countries.
Countries. Why your GDP? Let's say GDP will be GDP. Let's see. Where's the problem coming from?
The full stop after.
Where? Okay. So here's supposed to be comma. Yep. So if I say count. So is this a dictionary now? Type count. So that's a dictionary, isn't it? Do you understand what we have done here? Instead of you creating it one by one, you have created the list already now. You have created the list now. So it's that list now, you're not bringing it at once. Otherwise, you'd have done it this way. Count 1 equals to, I will say, country. Let's say country 1. Okay, let's say that means country 1 will be Nigeria, isn't it? I'll say Nigeria. Then I will now put semicolon. Nigeria will be what? 10, isn't it? Comma. Next one is what?
Ghana.
Ghana will be what? 20. Isn't it? Next one will be what?
South Africa.
South Africa, just like that. So which is easier? To have it in a list and bring it at once, or put it one by one? Which one is easier? Now I say everything you do, it is best to put in a what? In a variable, so that you can easily work with. So this is simple case of when you can put it in what? A variable. And that's why we are saying that if you don't practice what we have been doing since, you see now we are bringing everything together now. It can be dictionary, it can be list, it can be whatever, okay? We can now bring it down. Now what we are trying to do, we want to put it in form of a proper table. In form of what? A table, okay? So the table, so for example, if I say df equals to, so I want to put this now in the data frame. How do I put it in the data frame? How do I put it in the data frame?
PD dot data frame.
Yes, PD dot what? Data frame. Yes. If I press Shift Tab now, to tell you what to do there. So data index. Okay. So what do I now do? PD dot data frame.
Data equals to.
Data is equals to what?
Data is GDP now.
But remember, I've already created what? What have I created already? I've put it already. I've already assigned it here.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I've assigned it to what now?
To count.
To count. So if I say df, can you see that now?
Okay.
I've assigned it to count already. Can you see at times where list is useful? Can you see sometimes where dictionary is useful? Can you see sometimes where you have to combine both dictionary and list together? Because at the end of the day, this is how you work in Excel, isn't it? This is how you work in Excel. But in Excel, you have just typed straight. But you see here, you have to look for a way of bringing this form. Clear? Are we clear with this?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we see if we do not practice, it will leave you. That's why I always keep saying, practice what we have done up to that point. But we are going to keep building. So let's say, for example, let's just create a normal, let's create a table, right, with numbers there so that we can see it as a like tables. Let's say, for example, so you know how we say import import random, right? You know how we say report random. This is how we normally do it now, isn't it? They will now say random dot rand. Which rand again? Rand ints. They will now say, let's say what? Between 10 and 100. Right? Give me 5 numbers. Sorry. So between this and this, give me, right? Now, in the same way, I can do it this way. You see, I want to call this guy, this rand int. I want to call it. So what can I do? So normally I would have said, normally how you do it is, I would have done import numpy, isn't it? The next thing I will now do is to what? Call up. So once I've called numpy, it means that numpy now recognizes this one. Then I'll now say, okay, import random. Okay. But another way again you can do it, you can say from numpy, right, random, import rand int. Do you understand this now? We are going indirectly now. What you have done normally is to say import numpy. This is how you have done before. Import numpy, isn't it? Then import random, is it not? You know, in our rand between what do you call it? Rand, where do you put? We did it somewhere. Where did we do? Can you see it here? So this place we started calling np.random.randint. Can you see that? So remember, you must have first of all imported numpy, is it not? So it is numpy that understands this rand int. So rather than you just importing numpy, I now say from numpy dot random. Can you see that? Import this guy. Can you see that? So that's exactly what we are trying to do. I'm just showing you another way of doing it. So sometimes when you are, especially when we get to machine learning, you see from sklearn import. So either you do it this the first way we are doing it, or we do it in this way. Okay. If I want to import another one again, I can say import rand, let's say rand n, which means I am importing rand int, I'm importing rand n. Okay, so there are different ways of doing these things. So it's just for you so that when you are reading it, you understand what they are doing there. So here we can say from numpy, right, dot random, import, let's say rand n. Rand n is just like your normal, just your we can take any decimal numbers or what they call your normal distribution numbers. So let's just create random numbers, right? Let's create random numbers. Let's create. What if I say rand? Which one do I use now? Rand int. Rand int. Rand int. What does rand int do?
Give a random whole number.
Random whole number, isn't it? Random whole number. Random whole number. Oh yeah, let's try. Okay, so let's create a data frame. df, let's say pd.data frame. So now I want to create a data frame. So where I have the numbers, you know, so that's the data, isn't it? So this is data. So the data will be what? Rand what? Int, is it not? Let's say which numbers we want to create now. Let's say create numbers between what? 10 and let's say 100. Right? Index. What will be the index? Let's say the index will be what? A, B, C, D. Right? Can we do it like this? You know another thing you can do? Either we call it A, B, is it not? A, B, C, right? Or you know what again you can do? You can call it A, B, C. Then you can split it. I think I showed you how to split now. Did I show you how to split? Did I show you how to split?
Not
I
yet.
don't remember. No.
When we are
yes, you
dealing with
did.
the strings,
Yes.
All of them.
we didn't show you how to split.
Maybe nine cause is
Okay.
Did we not do this?
Oh,
Did we do this? They will now break them into smaller. So we can also do this way. Then I'll just say dot split. So that means you can split it into different parts. Or I'll just write them straight. A, B, C, D. You see, that's why we say with programming here, programming is very flexible. So just for you to choose the easiest way. Yeah? As long as you understand what you are trying to do. Okay, let's say columns. What should we call the columns? Maybe there's columns if I'm not splitting, but if I want to split it, I can see this. Let's call column W, let's say W, X, Y, Z dot split. Okay, so let's say DF. Hey, but you see the problem? It gave me the same number all through. Can you see that? So let's say, let me use rank n. Let me use rank n. Let me use rank n. Hey. So
Oh,
let's
sir.
see. Yes?
So can we say, instead of that, we did 1000.
Yeah.
The number of this thing we want to do.
Yes,
like
that was how to
10,
change. So let's say, is it 5 by 4? Yes, so 5 by 4. Okay, so let's run it and check. All right, so can you see that? So let me take that guy out. Okay, what we have done, we have created what? A table now, isn't it? We have created a table now. So this is how you'd have had maybe your data in like Excel, and this is what it looks like. Or should we call it any other? I'll show you other ways of doing it, but this is just how to create it from scratch, right? So by the time you understand how to create it from scratch, you now see that going forward, it will be easy to work with. So anytime I say DF, DF stands for what?
Data frame.
Data frame, isn't it? The data what frame. Okay. So you see the DF now is that data frame, which is a variable, isn't it? Which contains your table. So you see your table can be contained in a variable. Okay. Your table can be contained in a variable. So for example, how do we slice? How do we slice in Python? How do we slice?
With the index.
With the index, isn't it? So what is the index now?
Yeah, the index.
A, B, C, A to E.
Eh?
A to E is the index.
A to E is the index. Okay. A to E is the index. All right. Now you see in Excel, right? So if you're working in Excel, which would be more of interest to you? Is it A to E or W to Z? Which would be of interest to you?
W to Z.
If you're working in Excel,
Both
if
of
you're
them.
working
A to E and W to Z.
Both of them, because they are rows and columns in Excel.
there are rows and columns.
Both of them are important.
So both of them are indexed, indices.
Okay. Now, if you think about it like a table, right? Just think about it in Excel. If you're in Excel, yes, they are both important, but which is most important for you? Let's go
In
to
Excel,
that
W.
let's go to that our count. Count.
Or we can say what's the index represents is the most important.
Yes. So let's say, for example, when we put this in the data frame, right? PD dot data frame count. So what is important to you? Country GDP or 0 to 4? Which is more important to you?
Country GDP.
So that is exactly the same way this is. Can you see that? Yes, although we use that
That's right.
0 to 4 when we want to set it, to identify the row numbers, right? But actually, what we're actually looking at are these column names that we're dealing with, the country and or the GDP. Okay, so that is the same way you should look at this. So these are the columns that we are interested in. Okay, so that means that if I want to call up W, if I want to see what is in W, how will I call up W now? The whole everything W. How will I do that? I want to see everything here.
Can you slice it out?
Yes, now so how do you slice it?
We do count.
Yeah.
Counts with the index. It should be 1.
Now I just want to pick it out, just that. So it's DF.
Okay.
How do we slice
Data.
normally? Is it not?
Yeah, the PD data frame.
Okay.
Or I can do it this way. I can put a double distance W. Can you see that?
Okay.
Or I can use it df dot w. Same. So you are going to see they will use different methods of slicing it out. Do we get this?
So,
Do we get this?
yes, sir.
So you can slice by this. Okay, you can slice. I don't know if I want to call another one now. Let's say Z, or which other one do we have there? X. So let's call X or Z. So can you see you can call 2 columns out? You know, you can call what? 2 columns from there. Or you want 3 columns, you can call 3 columns.
This also
So I
applies to
have-
your rows too.
Yes, it can also apply to the rows. But the rows, when we get, I'm sure we'll do when we'll do index location, ILOC. Location and ILOC. We'll show you how to work with the rows much later. But first of all, what you are trying to do is to extract those columns first. Because when actually you are working, it's the columns now. If you are going to visualize this data, right, in your pivot tables, is it the rows you are picking or is the columns that you are picking?
Columns.
Is the column name,
Columns.
is it not? That you take for your pivot table. Exactly. Okay. So this is what you are doing. You can also slice your table. So imagine this table was up to like 2 billion. You see that it is the summary of that table that you have here. That's what you are going to take into your Excel to go and do your maybe your data visualization. Although you can still do the same thing here, right? But that's why you see most time with Python you can do almost everything here. You can do almost everything that you want here. Okay, just to make life easy for you. So that we don't complicate already complicated situations. So I think we can stop here.
Yeah.
But
ahead.
you see that from now on, we have taken off now, isn't it? If you have not practiced what we have been doing since, just forget about it. Because from next week now, we are going to proper analysis. But I'll show you first of all how to import data from different sources, from your Excel, from Excel CSV files, how to bring those your Excel files and read them in Python. Then how to do all the analysis now. So please make sure, if you have not been practicing, please try and practice those basics, those dictionary lists. Now you now see where we are applying them now, isn't it? If you have not
Yes,
been
sir.
following, it be as if, what are they saying? Or when did we do all these things? But you just notice gradually I'll do them small, isn't it? But now you now see how we are now pulling them all together. Okay, so please try and practice up to this point. But once you have started data frame, pandas, just know your data analysis journey has already begun. So it means you are taking Excel one step further now. So everything you have been doing in your Excel, will now put it inside Python and start to do the same analysis. All right, guys, have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you, sir.
Francis.
Thank you.
All right,
Have a great
Sir.
weekend.
bye.